Are you torn between settling in Northern Virginia or heading to Florida and enjoying the warmth and the sun that the area offers? Whether you're considering a big move or just curious about the differences, I've got you covered. Today, we're making a detailed comparison of Northern Virginia and Florida, two highly sought after areas with varying pros and cons. If this is your first time here, I'm Amanda Davidson, a local real estate broker in Alexandria, Virginia, and this channel is all about living, eating, sleeping, working, and playing in Northern Virginia. If that's something that interests you, be sure to hit that subscribe button and tap that bell for notifications. Now, before we dive into the pros and cons, I want you to keep in mind that Florida is a big state, and that means it has a variety of suburbs, areas, and jurisdictions. So depending on where you are or where you're interested in Florida, your experience may vary. Northern Virginia, on the other hand, is a more compact, focused area offering many job opportunities, cultural richness, and educational excellence. One of the biggest pros of living in Northern Virginia is the thriving job market here. We have so many diverse opportunities in government, in IT, the military, also many Fortune 500 companies are here. And this is the reason that we earn our nickname that we live in the bubble, because Northern Virginia is more insulated from national and international financial fluctuations. We are so close to the government here, and there are so many job opportunities that we really are more protected when there are other financial fluctuations happening throughout the US and the world. This is also a reason that many international investors choose to invest their money in the Northern Virginia real estate market simply because there's less risk and we're more protected because of our location. Another pro for Northern Virginia is this area is steeped in history. And it's not just Northern Virginia, although we definitely hold our own weight. We are also just minutes to Washington, D.C., 45 to an hour if you're further out in Loudoun or Prince William County. But all of the museums in Washington, D.C. are at your fingertips when you're living in Northern Virginia. And then here we have Old Town Alexandria. We have Mount Vernon, which is an absolutely beautiful estate to go and tour and learn about the history and how George Washington operated there. We also have Manassas National Battlefield. You could head further south and go to Jamestown. There are so many different sites and historic information that you can soak up. If you enjoy history, Northern Virginia will definitely be high on your list. Another major draw for families moving to Northern Virginia is our top-notch education system. Fairfax and Loudoun County are consistently ranked in the very best schools in all of the country. And that is a huge draw for families considering making a move here. We also have prestigious private schools and magnet schools. We won't leave out higher education either. Fairfax County is home to George Mason University with their main campus. They also have another campus in Arlington. And we also have access to one of the most sought after community colleges, NOVA, Northern Virginia Community College. If you're an outdoor enthusiast, you will absolutely love Northern Virginia's access to recreational opportunities. Now, we don't have the Florida beaches, they've got us on that one, but we do have some really incredible parks, and in general, Northern Virginia has done an exceptional job of preserving green space throughout communities as well. We can start from the top with Great Falls Park. You can go enjoy viewing the falls or go for an extensive hike. That's one of the most popular parks in our area and is visited by tourists year-round as well. We also have access to the Potomac River, so if you want to go spend a day and relax and have a picnic along the river, you've got that option. Or you can get in the water, head out on your kayak or your paddleboard and soak up an afternoon on the water. We also have a lot of neighborhood and pocket parks here. So think about neighborhoods that have walking trails and you can go for a run. Some neighborhoods have lakes here as well, depending on what area of Northern Virginia you're in. You may find yourself in a neighborhood here that just simply has a small park that has a playground and some green space for you to enjoy the great outdoors. Again, we can't compete with Florida on the beaches, but we do hold our own with outdoor space. Florida is also known for its vibrant lifestyle, especially in areas that are known for tourism and for the nightlife. Miami immediately comes to mind. Fort Lauderdale is a close second. Tampa, Orlando, and I'm sure there are some that I'm not even aware of. Key West for tourism for sure. But if you're looking for that type of lifestyle, Northern Virginia is going to be a con on that box for you. We don't have a ton of nightlife here. We do have plenty of nightlife in DC, but it still doesn't compare to what you can access in Florida. Tourism is going to depend on what area of Northern Virginia you're in. The bulk of tourism occurs in DC, although Old Town Alexandria is a fairly popular destination. But from a big picture view, Florida has far more tourism than we do here in Northern Virginia. Another pro for Florida is, in general, the cost of living in Florida is far lower than Northern Virginia. And there's a lot of variety of homes in Florida, from the stunning beachfront properties to far more affordable suburbs. There's really something for everyone in terms of price point for real estate in Florida. Northern Virginia is an extremely expensive area to call home, whether that's from a standpoint of overall cost of living or in particular the cost of real estate in Northern Virginia is just plain expensive. I don't have a better way to put it. So if cost of living is something that's extremely important to you, Florida is definitely going to come out ahead on that front. Florida does come with its own set of challenges though, and one of those is hurricanes. Be prepared that depending on where you're looking in Florida, not only will you possibly have to deal with hurricanes in general just from a daily life standpoint, but you may also be forced to get flood insurance, and that can greatly impact your housing budget. So just something to keep in mind if you're shopping for a new home in Florida. Another pro for Florida is the retirement and 55 plus communities there. Everybody knows that Florida is a huge state for retirement, and they have done a fantastic job of creating these incredible retirement communities loaded with amenities. Same for their 55 plus communities. They of course know that it's a highly sought after area for retirement, and because of that they have created communities to draw people in to relocate to the area. Now, Northern Virginia has 55 plus communities, and many of them are quite lovely and do have great amenities. But when you compare Northern Virginia communities 55 plus or retirement to Florida, well, our amenities don't quite stack up. Something that I see a lot of is retirees keeping their home here in Northern Virginia because they've built a life here, they have family, friends here, but then what they'll do is purchase a second home in Florida so that when we get below 35 degrees in the winter and possibly some snow piling up in the driveway, they can head south, avoid the winters here, and then they come back when the weather is nicer. That's an option that is something I see people pursue fairly frequently. Same thing, possibly relocating and getting a second home in the Carolinas, but then keeping the primary residence here in Northern Virginia. They get the best of both worlds. Let's talk a little bit about traffic. And Northern Virginia definitely is a con with traffic. It is bad here. I don't have another way to put it. We have a lot of congestion here. It's a way of life. And I'm not saying that Florida doesn't have traffic. I've been to Miami and the traffic can get crazy there. But the amount of areas that have really bad traffic in Florida are far less than compared to Northern Virginia. No matter where you land in Northern Virginia, you will definitely experience traffic, and I will include that for Maryland and DC as well. I'm gonna throw in one more con for Northern Virginia, and it somewhat falls into the cost of living bracket, but I think it's important to point out that we do have fairly high taxes here in Northern Virginia, and it comes with a lot of pluses. I think it's one of those situations, for the most part, you get what you pay for, except for that personal property tax we have. Everyone knows, if you've watched any of my videos, that's a pet peeve of mine. But with these taxes that we're paying, we have an extensive public transportation system. They are constantly working on expanding and developing our roads. Our roads overall are in pretty good condition from what I've seen compared to other states, especially South Carolina and Florida. And the other thing about the taxes here is the education. As I mentioned, we have an excellent education system here in the public sector and the private sector, and all of that factors into the taxes that we pay. But from a budget standpoint, Florida is going to come out ahead on the tax front. Ultimately, the decision between Florida and Northern Virginia, it's a personal preference. Each area has unique advantages and disadvantages just like everywhere else, so do your research and really look into what fits your lifestyle the best. If you got some value from this video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And until I see you on the next one, thanks for watching.